Guys, what's up? It's Joby and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about a pretty old case that actually happened in London. I came across this case and I was like, I've never heard of this before, so I thought I would share it with you guys today. So let's go ahead and just get right into this case. Today we're going to be talking about Vera Page. So Vera was born on April 13th, 1922. She was an only child to Charles and Isabel Page. She was born in Hammersmith, London, I'm pretty sure is how you say it. So they were part of the working class at this time in London. Charles was a painter and Isabel was a stay-at-home mom. Vera was known to be kind of popular, but she was also pretty shy and kept to herself, but she was a very well-behaved child. To kind of get more income to afford everything, her parents actually let people stay in the house with them and kind of pay rent, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, what do you call them, like a bed and breakfast type thing. But the people that they let in were usually family and friends. In January 1931, when Vera was about 9 years old, they actually moved to a different house, and they moved kind of to a different area. They actually didn't own this house by themselves. There was actually somebody on the main level and in the basement that lived there as well as them. So the people who lived there were a mid-aged couple that had been there for like a lot of years. They were the Rush family. On December 14th, 1931, Vera left her home at about 4:30 p.m. that evening, and she walked not very far to her aunt's house, who lived pretty much just about a block away, not even. She was going there to pick up some swimming certificates that she actually earned that she left at her aunt's house the night before. When she didn't return by 5:30 p.m., her father actually paid a visit to her aunt to see if she was still there and just got, lost track of time talking or whatever, but she wasn't there. Her aunt said that she picked up her certificates and left at about 4:45 on her to make it back for their evening meal. But like I said, she never made it home that night. So her father searched pretty much all of family, all of friends, to see if she wandered off or whatever, but she wasn't at anybody's house. So at about 10:25 p.m. that night, he called the police to report her as missing. But that didn't really stop him from looking. Him and his wife, her mom, they all went out looking, all night and into the day, and some friends and family actually helped as well to search for Vera. By the 15th, it was all over the media and newspapers that this little girl had been missing, and the police were searching for her as well. Her friend actually said that December 15th, between 5 and 6 p.m., she actually talked to Vera. She said that she met her by a little corner store and they were talking for a little while, and Vera had mentioned that she was going to buy her parents this Christmas present that was displayed in the window. She said that she was going to buy it for her parents for Christmas. And then they both kind of separated, and that was the last time that Vera was ever seen. And Vera actually was said to be holding an envelope, which her aunt confirmed to be the swimming certificates that she had given her that previous day. On December 16th, a milkman was doing his runs when he found Vera's body in a garden in Bush. So this was only about a mile away from her home, and it was close to the Holland Park. There was just about no effort to conceal this body at all. There was a little bit of shrub thrown over her, just a little bit, and dirt and stuff like that. But other than that, it was pretty much right out in the open. Because this was done in an area that was close to her house, the police believe that the person who did this either knew this area well or actually lived close to the disposal site. And it is also said that she was murdered close to where she was disposed. And decomposition was advanced for the fact that she had just been seen more like just the day before. Her composition was pretty advanced for that small span of time. So the police believe that she wasn't held in a cold area, and she was more than likely killed pretty soon after the last encounter with her friend and was kept in a pretty warm area. Because if you know anything about decompensation, the colder you keep a body or any type of body part, the longer it is going to take to decompose. But if you were to put it in heat, it is going to decompose faster. I don't know why. Odd fact I learned in biology. And the odd thing too is that it rained the day before. It rained heavily from like 3 o'clock to like 6 o'clock. So it rained for a solid 3 hours heavily. And when her body was found, her clothes didn't show a lot of moisture in them, and neither did any of her body parts that were touching the ground at this time, even though it was pretty damp outside still. I mean, it just had rained that night before. The police concluded that her body hadn't been there for more than 2 hours before it was found. The milkman also testified to that at 5 a.m. on his first run, the body was not there, and the homeowner said at 6 o'clock or at 7 o'clock it wasn't there either, but when the milkman came back for his later run, he found the body. So this was definitely a quick disposal. Like I said, the person who did this definitely knew this area and this route, and like the milkman, when he was going to be there, when these people weren't paying attention, all of this stuff. He definitely knew all of this. So, it wasn't necessarily called an autopsy at this time, but I'm just going to say autopsy because that's pretty much what happened. Her body was looked at and they found signs of rape and strangulation, which ended up actually killing her. And this didn't happen more than 24 hours before her body was found. And it more than likely happened very close to the last time she was seen. There was bruising found on her as well, and there was also a welt found on her neck, but that was said to have done post-mortem, which means after she was dead. They said that she had not been dead for more than 24 hours before she was found. There was a specific kind of dust found on her face. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it was found on her face. There wasn't much, it was just a light dusting, and there was also candle wax found on her shoulder and on the clothes that hung on her shoulders. And there was also a cloth bandage that was found between her elbow, like right here. It was lodged between her elbow and is said to have been put there as this person was disposing of her. It would have slipped off as he let go of her arms. The wax found on her clothes and her arm did not match the candles that were lit at her home, so it definitely ruled that out. And like I said, this dust that was found on her was a specific kind of dust that is usually found in an attic or cellar type area. So they think that she was stored in a cellar till the morning. You know, cellars are kind of old and dirty, like the dust could have fallen. There was no lights, which means you would have had to light a candle to see anything in this cellar / attic area, and they would have been quite warm. So they said that the perpetrator actually stored her in here until he disposed of her in the morning. The type of bandages that were found and the type of candle wax that was also found on her body led them to a suspect. But when they went to investigate, they actually realized that the bandages were a different brand of bandages than the one found on Vera. And this is where the police admit that they royally messed up. They actually went to this suspect's house and told them that they think that he was the one who murdered her because of the type of bandages and candles that he owned. And then they investigated. So it easily could have been that he just disposed of the same kind of bandages and bought completely different ones so that it wouldn't be used against him, you know, to be linked to this murder, which really could have happened, because I know they didn't investigate him. They told him that they suspected that he did it, and then they investigated, which would have gave him time to get rid of all the evidence that they had against him. So they had to let him go as a suspect, and he eventually passed away from natural causes. So even if now or even years after this murder happened, if they concluded it was him, there's nothing that really can be done because he passed away. So like I said, Vera was a very shy, kept to herself type of little girl, which means she definitely knew her perpetrator to have kind of gone there, because what the police believe is that the perpetrator lured Vera into this cellar area, raped and then strangled and murdered her, and left her in there until, you know, the next morning to dispose of her body. And like I said, she was a shy girl. She didn't really talk to a lot of people, so she really only would have went with somebody that she knew. Now, I don't exactly know the first name of the guy that did it. I forgot to write it down, and I don't know why. I thought I did, but if you remember, the couple that lived with them was the Rush family, and the suspect's last name was Rush. I know it isn't the same as the couple that was there, but the last name was Rush, which means she could have known him. He could have came in and out of the house. It could have been their grandson, their son, you know, their nephew, something. Somebody who actually lived by the disposal site said that she saw somebody at about 6 a.m. pushing a wheelbarrow that had a big lump in it and was covered by this red cloth. And her description matched this Rush like to the T. And somebody who actually lived by a cellar said that he left it open all the time, but in these 24 hours, the cellar was locked and closed. So there is definitely a lot of evidence against their main suspect, but like I said, he either got rid of the bandages, or it really isn't him at all, and they couldn't really link him to this murder by, you know, nobody said, oh, I saw, and named him and said, oh, I saw him do this, this, and that. They didn't have technically any evidence that could convict him of Vera's murder. So technically today, about 100 years later, just about 100 years later, Vera's murderer has never been found, which is so sad. Hopefully she is resting peacefully with her parents now, because her parents would have probably passed away by now. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see next down below. Don't forget to follow my social medias. They're all linked down below as well. I post on Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30 Central Time, and I will see you guys in my next video.